Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
This hour of Ocala Talks is brought to you in part by Blockers Furniture. Go see all their specials at blockersfurniture.com.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Monday, it is April 4th, the first Monday of the new month. So that means that it is time to talk to Police Chief Mike Balkin, but he had a meeting he could not avoid this morning, so he sends Major Steve Cuppy of Patrol to us. Major Cuppy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tom.
He sends me a text message, says, I have this important meeting that I have to be in. I will send you Major Steve Cuppy. He's a nice guy.
True statement.
I said, I know Steve. I've met him before.
Hopefully you confirm he's a nice guy.
I said, I know he's a nice guy.
All right.
He's like, well, he's on his way. So hey, good to meet you, Steve.
Good to meet you too, Tom.
So how's things going? You Major Patrol and everything? I mean, you're what? You're only 2 heartbeats away from Deputy Chief or something, aren't you?
Yeah, I do like to remind. I think last week you had one of my partners here, Greg Martin, Major Greg Martin.
I wouldn't literally not in public would I claim he's a partner.
I would like. I like to remind him that I am senior to him.
Yeah,
so,
well,
yeah. When
okay,
you say
yeah,
2
good,
heartbeats
good.
away, yeah, I'm senior to Greg Martin.
Good. Well, that is worth mentioning.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, we do have a good staff at the police department. We're doing well right now.
And just don't ever sing Ice Ice Baby and you'll be good.
Excellent advice. Excellent.
Although
advice.
I have a video if you want to see one of somebody
I've
doing
seen
Ice
that
Ice
same
Baby.
video. That will live in infamy.
Oh, as long as I have a copy of it, it will. So let's talk about Patrol for a minute, because you always see on the TV shows that patrols are the bumblers that are running crime scene tape when the detectives show up. I was reminded of it this week. I'm watching Blue Bloods, and Mark Wahlberg's Donnie Wahlberg's character is a detective, and he walks up, and it's the first time the guy patrols on a homicide, and he's dropping the tape and everything, and I'm like, you're giving Patrol, TV gives Patrol a bad look on these shows nowadays. Now, back in the day when you had Adam 12, that was about patrol and everything.
It was.
But Patrol is actually the frontline officer. The men and women of Patrol are the people that get to everything first, whether it's a traffic accident, a traffic stop, a shooting, an active shooter, child abuse situations, domestic abuse situations. The first person always on the scene is Patrol. Is that right?
Yeah, that would be an accurate statement. And when I got into the business of law enforcement 28 years ago, the squad that I worked for in Patrol, experience-wise, I had a guy on there that had 15 to 20 years experience. The next one was 10 plus years experience, and then the next one below that was at least 3 to 4, and then I was the rookie. And really today, our agency right now, because of everything that's occurred in the retirements and people leaving, it's the exact opposite. And the Patrol Bureau is incredibly young right now at the Ocala.
But your training officers, for the most part, for new police officers, are in Patrol.
They are. They are, yeah. The training officers, they are patrol officers, but they're even younger officers as well. So that's just what's kind of happening.
Well, George was a Methuselah, let's be honest.
Who was?
George, before he retired 3 or 4 years.
George
I forget.
Robinson?
I forget his name. I knew he ate at Arby's every day for lunch at 11:30.
Oh, you're talking about, I think you're talking about George Clark.
George Clark, yes.
Yes, you are.
Every day he ate at Arby's at 11:30.
Yep.
Like clockwork.
He was a bit of a legend around our
I had
agency.
at one time a girl I was seeing. Her training officer was George, and I would go eat lunch with them at that Arby's every now and then. He was legendary.
He's a good man.
Yeah,
we could use a lot more George Clarks.
great training officer, but a patrol guy.
He was. His whole career with us was in patrol. And some people really love that bureau so much. because you are the frontline responder. You respond
You're
to
the face
everything
of the police
first.
department,
You
really.
really are. You make the impression on everybody. So, when we get good customer service remarks from the community, when the community says police officers are doing a good job, it's because patrol is doing a great job.
Yeah, and I would think you said that there was people that do it that were made, like George always was in patrol and all. I would think the burnout of patrol, though, because you are the first there. You are the first that rolls up on a domestic abuse where there may be a death. You are the first that walks up and sees a malnourished or child eat up with bug bites and everything because they're not being cared for. You're the first one that rolls up, on suspected drug houses and enough. The stuff you see there. The stuff patrol sees first before anybody else gets there, I would think that would lead to a large burnout in that area.
It can, and that's why most people, when they get in the business, they do want to do something else after they've been in patrol for a number of years, whether it's canine or investigations or school resource. There are a few, you can call them lifers, that have kind of been there the whole time, and I don't know, maybe they just get a little desensitized to it. But, the adrenaline rush and kind of serving the community in that way, they seem to love it.
Well, now I know, unbeknownst to what people see on television, because we know the cop shows on television are so accurate. We know that. We know they're, everybody wears club clothes. They work in the dark, and DNA can be, your lieutenant can figure out DNA at her desk. But anyway.
It's hard for me to watch those shows. I usually don't watch.
No,
regular
because
TV
it's
that way.
ridiculous.
It's not real.
No. It's got to do it in an hour. It's not, there's no way it can be real.
That is correct.
But a lot of times people don't realize your patrolmen and women, they also are the preliminary investigator on the scene.
Yeah.
People, they don't just run tape, stand there with their hands in their pockets until a detective gets there. They actually are the first investigators, and their training allows them to be investigators on the scene.
Yeah, that is correct. We've got to teach them all the same skills of what a detective would have, but even sometimes the same skills as a evidence officer would have. If I don't have an evidence officer available, then they're going to have to break out the finger dust kit
Right.
and start collecting fingerprints and taking pictures of crime scenes. So sometimes there's a lot of different skills that you end up having to have in patrol.
Now, is patrol where is that basically the starting point of all police officers?
It is. I think you find that in the business itself. Everyone, regardless of what agency you work for, will start in patrol to kind of learn the fundamentals of investigating crimes, talking with people, and responding to things.
Now, I know that your men and women are trained in accident investigation and everything, but I know that the state patrol does accident investigations. But in the city, is it patrol that does accident investigations, not state patrol?
It's a combination. Well, one, it is the police department that investigates traffic crashes in the city.
Right.
And as a number I know off the top of my head, because we've been looking at this a lot, in the city of Ocala, on a typical month, we have over 500 traffic accidents in the city. A lot of traffic. Ocala has just exploded in growth. But a traffic accident can be worked by a civilian.
By community service officers.
Community service officers. And that's one of the areas Chief Balkin is looking to expand the police department, is through community service officers. Because when they're not available to work it because they're already working one, patrol picks up the slack. So that's taking them away from preventative patrol and preventing crime.
I sometimes the community service helps prevent crime, because I know the other day we were in there and a guy goes, "Can't go speeding through here." I go, "You should never go speeding through here." He goes, "Yeah, but the police sit right up here at this diner area," and it's actually a community service car. He goes, "See, that car's there a lot." And I didn't want to tell him that it wasn't. It was a civilian, because you don't need to go through the S curve at a high rate of speed.
Right.
So,
but I mean, there's still a good set of eyes. If they
Right.
do see something, they've got a radio that communicates with all the patrol officers that are out there working, and they can call something in.
and they do a good service by not taking and gumming the system up by a patrol officer having to come to an accident scene. And we're not talking about, there's serious injury or something, a patrol officer sometimes will come, but just a little minor fender bender where you can move it off into a parking lot and a report needs to be done for insurance purposes and everything. Community service takes that. Now, are they under the purview of patrol, or are they their own separate entity?
They are their own separate entity. They actually fall under the Special Operations Bureau.
So they're
they
under
kind of fall.
special ops. Okay.
Yep, special ops. And when we get back to the point of having a traffic division, we start seeing those motors officers out there on the motorcycles. We've kind of gotten away from that the last couple of years because of staffing. They also fall under special operations.
Yeah, I know there was one guy named Woods. I forget his first name.
I think he spent a little time on.
He was happy. He was proud that he had those wings on the motorcycle tire. He was.
Yes, he did.
I don't know what happened to that guy though.
He just kind of left our agency after he retired. Something happened.
I don't know where. I know he was with OPD for a while.
He might be in Marion County.
He's somewhere in Marion County, I think, but I don't know. So, how have you seen? Because you've been here now. Have you been here your whole career in Ocala as a police officer?
This is the only agency I've ever worked for, and I'm in my 28th year.
What if if you can even pinpoint, because there's so many, I bet. What are some of the major things that stick out in your mind about how this city and how policing the city's changed in those 28 years?
Well, the growth, without a doubt, and presently we're seeing growth right now that I think is kind of.
When I moved here, there was 43,000 people in Ocala.
Yes.
And now it's almost 60,000 now.
And that's misleading if you think about it. That's
just people that live inside the city limits.
That's
It's not the people that come in and out. In and out, I bet every day it's probably 300,000-400,000.
The CEP estimates during the day it's actually about 250 is what they're thinking. So, I mean, that really taxes our services right there. So the growth in the city, we're working very hard to keep pace on that. And if I had to say anything that's changed in the business of law enforcement, I don't think the nuts and bolts of being able to talk to people has changed one bit. That part of law enforcement has always stayed the same. But it's technology in the business. And fortunately, the Ocala Police Department has done a great job of staying up on technology, and we're a well-equipped agency for sure.
A lot of people would say, but technology hinders you. You can't do your job the way you used to do it. But I know that you guys think that body cams and stuff like that are actually a godsend that y'all welcome.
Well, when you say that, you are right. And I'll equate it to this. We've got laptop computers in the car that have the call screen in the car.
Right.
And if that goes down, you almost feel like you can't function. And I can tell you, when I first got started in the business, we didn't have that. It was pen
you had
to
the
paper.
Motorola, that was it.
You had a radio that would give you the call. You would write down the call on a piece of paper, and you would go to it from there. So we have become technology dependent, but I think that the current generation, the younger generation that's kind of coming into the business, they're so technology driven that if you take it away from them now, they feel like they're naked and they may not be able to do the job.
But it allows you to have tools that you didn't have before and have evidence you weren't able to get before, just from things like your dash cam and your.
Without a doubt.
But back, I wasn't swerving. That was a cop that had it out for me. And no, we have dash cam video. You crossed the center line 6 times while I was pulling you over. We got it right here. We have body cam and dash cam footage of you falling over because you couldn't walk that straight line.
And I love to tell people, about the time the police department in 2014, 2015 went to body cams across the entire agency, I was in professional standards, internal affairs. And the one impact that had is outside complaints went away because it was on camera. So it straightened out the behavior of the public where they would not call up false complaints, but it also, if there were any kind of issues with officers that were not
straighten them
up too. So it really, we saw a dramatic drop. And that's how that's just one area where I saw camera footage really make an impact on law enforcement.
Has the change in the bad guys' firepower gotten to the point where now you guys, back in the day, I remember Mr. Gunner, who worked for Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. He was our next door neighbor. He had a shotgun in his patrol car, and he had his pistol. Now, you go to your trunk, most of the officers have high-powered rifles or shotguns too, and then they got the Glocks and everything. Has the bad guys' firepower dictated that the firepower of the police also have to increase?
Yeah, I think we've seen examples. I recall, over the years, I specifically recall an example out in California, I think it was, where there was a bank robbery where they were equipped with body armor and long rifles.
Yeah.
And
mimicking the movie Heat.
Yeah, exactly. So, you began to see other law enforcement agencies kind of look at that and realize that maybe we need to equip ourselves just in case. And, for a long while, we took advantage of the military programs with retired long rifles and being able to equip our officers with that until we can get into a budgetary position of doing it ourselves. But, yeah, you do see it out there. Fortunately, I will always say in my years here in Ocala, we're blessed here in Ocala. we've not seen that kind of violence towards law enforcement. Unfortunately, I think too many times bad people are shooting at other bad people, and that's predominantly what we're kind of seeing in our community. But the police department is definitely equipped and prepared to respond to any kind of active shooter emergency or anything like that.
Now, we talked about how patrol's the first on the scene. So if there was an active shooting, let's take, for instance, the Forest High School shooting.
Yep, that's the one to bring up.
That happened right here, and then I know that there was reports that there was a shooting going on at Westport at the same time and everything. That had to be a tough day for not everybody involved, but patrol especially, because you were getting information, patrol was getting information left and right and everything. I remember that day was chaotic.
So, and even think about it, this is the ability that we have to respond. Forest is technically in the county,
right,
in Marion County Sheriff's territory. And we know how big the county is and how that spreads the Sheriff's Department out. A number of OPD officers were the first ones on scene.
Because y'all were closer in proximity.
Because we were closer in proximity. You're right. So, and it was just the just making it safe, logistically trying to get all the students out of the school. And we ended up using First Baptist Church as a ground where we took students to get parents picked up. And then you hit it, when the added value of rumors and stories of what was happening out at Westport, which were not true.
Which is in the city.
That's in the city. And, that's one of the disadvantages of today's world with social media and telephones, and everybody has a way to communicate. And some bad information kind of came out, but you just didn't know. So
and it came out on social media, so you had to go to investigate it.
We had to go. And we were going lights and siren because you just didn't know if there was legitimacy to it. So it did create a memorable day in our history for sure.
Now, we know not all patrol's perfect. We know that because they're humans. Not everybody's perfect. But talk about why you think it's important that something along the lines of an patrol officer had left his zone, went home, he was coming back, he was going to assist, hits a guy in a Jeep and everything. That played out very publicly where OPD was very honest about it. This is what happened. He's been suspended. He got ticketed for this. How important it is, as you as the commander of patrol, to make sure that transparency exists at all times?
Well, I am reminded of who we serve and who really pays me to serve the community. So, look, we're not perfect. We're 195 strong, and people are going to make mistakes. And more importantly, we just try to train to prevent those mistakes. And where it's necessary, we'll discipline for those mistakes. And it's like, look, I think it's just easiest just to be honest with the public with what's going on with our agency. And if we do make a mistake and anybody wants to know how we handle it, we're very transparent in those kind of ways. But when you have a business as large as ours, an organization as large as ours, we're going to see these things occasionally come up. But honestly, one of the best ways, and we've done a tremendous amount of work emphasizing officers driving safely, because that was a tragic accident. That was a very big accident. But there are a lot of traffic accidents we have with police cars that are more routine accidents. Okay, and the city has grown very concerned about how many accidents we were having. So we really got aggressive within the agency to educate, talk about the incident that we're speaking about, and other incidents to try to reduce the number of accidents. And that effort has, in fact, reduced our traffic accidents involving police cars in the agency. So it is investing in your people and properly training them and getting them where they need to be.
How much of education of people on the roadways do you think needs to happen? And the reason I'm asking this question is, take, for instance, 200 and Martin Luther King. It's a busy afternoon, lunchtime, everybody's getting out for lunch. All the traffic's at that light stopped. You know how it backs up there and everything. And here comes a police car with lights and sirens going. A lot of people say, I just sit still and let them go around me. I don't move, because that's in that kind of situation, the actual thing you should do is, as safely as possible, get out of the way, make a hole, make an opening. But a lot of people don't know that, and they just sit there, and which makes your job as patrol that much more difficult. How do we educate the public to know what to do in those kind of situations?
You're asking a really tough question. And, look, we've now gotten to the point where I think we have a really good public information department within our agency. I encourage people to kind of stay connected with the social media sites that we have, because we will put out educational stuff about these kinds of things. But I mean, you're hitting on a very tough topic. I mean, it just gets so congested during the daytime, and that sometimes, you know, people, I think, panic a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, they hear the sirens, but they don't necessarily see where it's coming from, especially during the daytime.
So if I don't move, I don't know where it's coming from, but if I don't move, they can go around me, and I'm not causing a problem.
And, you know, sometimes we have to train our officers. Honestly, you know, you're coming down State Road 200. Don't put yourself in the middle lane if you're a police officer.
No,
honestly,
you're trapped.
you need to be on the inside lane, because it may be necessary to go in the opposite lane of traffic very slowly to get around those cars, just because the traffic is so heavy. And you've really got to take your time during the daytime. For officers in driving codes, you don't put people in danger.
As patrol officers, is that one of the major shifts in the last 10 or 15 years, is just the amount of people that are on the roadways now? Because I remember in 2013, we'd have Greg Graham on when he first started coming on with Buddy and I, and, you know, he would talk about how these were things that needed to be learned, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that often. I see it happen a lot now, because traffic is just that much more because of the explosive growth of Marion County and Ocala. Is that something that probably is one of the top 2 or 3 things that you deal with regularly?
It's in there, and I can tell you, I consciously made the decisions to work midnight shift just so I didn't have to deal with the traffic during the day. It was just, it can be difficult. It can be frustrating, even for officers that are trying to get around. They want to get someplace quickly. And look, we've got a lot of young officers, so we've really got to stay on top of them to make sure they're driving safely. But it's like the genie's out of the bottle. I don't think all of a sudden Ocala is going to go back to a sleepy town. So
No.
we're going to have to figure out some ways to educate the public, build the kind of roadways that we need that can handle the congestion that we've got in Marion County, and just educate our officers as well as we can.
Just when you said, just to show the growth, the example of the growth, you said 195 strong. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, Greg Graham it's 165 strong.
Yeah.
So just in the last 3 or 4 years, you've increased the agency by 30 to 40 personnel, and that's sworn officers.
And that's where we believe we need to be in 2022. That's not factoring in the growth.
2025, 2027.
Exactly. We are actively, as an administration, really trying to formulate what our needs are and articulate that to the city.
If you got, we're up against the break. If you got a few more minutes, I want to get into that and talk to you about what kind of person would make a good police officer, what kind of candidate would make a good patrol officer, and how we go about finding people, because you're going to have 205, 210, 220. If the Census Bureau is right and the CEP is right on the growth of Ocala, 195 might cut it now, but it won't cut it in 2024, 2025.
I agree.
So I'll ask you, because you've been in it a while, I'll ask you what kind of candidates you're looking for. We're talking with Major Steve Cuppy of Patrol with the Ocala Police Department. We do it every Monday, the first Monday of every month here on Ocala Talks. We'll be back after this short timeout. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Shamrock Security Systems, 629-3223. Shamrock Security Systems is located here in Ocala, Florida. Shamrock Security Systems is a top-rated alarm company offering 24/7 monitoring, video surveillance, fire and flood protection. You'll sleep a little better once the job is done. Shamrock Security Systems for over 31 years. 629-3223. Get a 100% free quote from Shamrock Security. 629-3223.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Details on Russia's military actions in Ukraine include rape, civilian executions, using buses with Ukrainian kids to escort their tanks, minefields, and booby-trapping bodies are all on display as Russian troops pull back from Kyiv to focus elsewhere in their invasion. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz.
We must relentlessly investigate these crimes committed by the Russian armed forces. I demand that international organizations such as the International Committee of the Red Cross be given access to these areas to document the atrocities.
Elon Musk has just bought over 9% of Twitter, according to a regulatory filing published Monday by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Musk recently told his fans of about 80 million on Twitter he's given serious thought to start a fresh social media platform to rival Twitter, which he points out Twitter is failing to adhere to free speech principles. USA Radio News.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free.
Thanks, Pat. Call toll-free 800-630-1490. That's 800-630-1490.
Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Again, 800-630-1490. 800-630-1490 today.
Or at SwissAmerica.com.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune in to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors, Sunday mornings at 8 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors.
Our firm offers insurance services.
Are you suffering from neck, back, or leg pain? Go Green CBD Store can help you with holistic, all-natural, lab-tested products that help with pain, stress, anxiety, inflammation, PTSD, and so much more. We stock smokable products, gummies, chocolate, coffee, tea, even pain cream. Yes, we even have treats and oils for your dogs or cats. Go Green CBD is located in the Paddock Mall in the center court. We're open every day. Come in today for a free sample.
Howdy folks, RL here for Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. And the burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequaled. Personally, banana split is my all-time favorite. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
New arrivals and new savings are waiting for you at Blockers Furniture. With over 80,000 square feet of the best selection and best prices you can find on furniture, mattresses, home accents, accessories, and more. And with new trucks arriving weekly, Blockers has the best available in-stock selection. Unlike many other furniture companies that will have you waiting for months to get what you want or need, come see everything that Blockers has to offer. Blockers Furniture, 2402 Southwest College Road, next to Hobby Lobby.
The Golden Spoon Diner and Seafood Restaurant, a true New York-style diner in Ocala. Try our breakfast special of 2 eggs served with home fries or hash browns and toast for just $4.49. We have an all-you-can-eat catfish special daily for $14.99, and Thursday through Sunday we have prime rib. Happy hour for food starts at 2 p.m. The Golden Spoon Diner and Seafood Restaurant is located at 5400 Southwest College Road in the Heathbrook Commons Plaza. Open daily from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. We will see you soon.
It's Monday. Not sure how you did it, but you actually survived an entire 2 days without hearing from Tom. Good job to you. And once again, good luck.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Monday. I got Major Steve Cuppy in the building with me for just a few more minutes. You know, we're talking about how there's 195 strong, but the city's not going to stop growing. If you people that say, "Oh, stop building apartments and stop building houses," this growth needs to stop. That's not going to happen.
Correct.
Ocala's going to get bigger and bigger because of its location and how central it is to, I mean, you can be to Jacksonville in 2 hours, Orlando an hour and 20 minutes, Tampa an hour and a half. It's such a central location, and it still has an element of winter that the Northerners like, so they like retiring to this area specifically. So it's going to continue to growing, which means the police department's going to have to continue to grow. With that in mind, what is being done and what kind of person are you looking for to help with that growth?
You know, one thing you'll find, I know us and the Marion County Sheriff's Department's been doing this as well, where they'll sponsor people and put them through the academy itself. So, you know, I think all of us look for individuals that have a couple of traits and qualities. You know, there has to be a desire where you enjoy serving. You know, clearly law enforcement is not what you see on TV where it seems like they've got action going on all the time. So, you know, there is a lot of service that does go on. I love people that love to be problem solvers and have a great work ethic. If you have a great work ethic, I think you can find success in just about anything. And we really want to grab a hold of people like that.
I saw a video of spring break, and all this spring break we've heard about how it's gotten, you know, guns confiscated in Panama City and shootings in Miami and everything. And then I saw a video of 2 cops in the Fort Walton area in a crowded spring break beach that were going one-on-one in their full uniforms. They worked for Fort Walton Beach Police, and they were, you know, patrolling the area in full police uniform, one-on-one against 2 other kids, college kids, in a football challenge where they were, you know, one of us covered him like wide receiver and everything. And people go, you know, that's a waste of taxpayers. And I think, no, that's exactly what taxpayers' dollars should spend for, because every one of those kids now think those cops are cool and and might listen to them more.
Well, I'll tell you a story along those lines because Greg Martin was here last week. Well, we used to be bike partners back in the 90s where we rode on those pedaling bicycles and rode around all around the city. And we did a lot of, you know, one of the primary missions of that unit was a lot of street-level drug interdiction type stuff.
Certainly.
So there is a small basketball court. It's still there in the 1600 block of Southwest Fort King Street over in West Ocala. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in that area, you know, there would be a couple of people that we knew that were involved in criminal element and everything. But there had been many a times that Greg Martin and I would take off our gun belts, and we wore shorts because we were on a bicycle.
On a bicycle.
And we would take a couple of the neighborhood guys on and play basketball, 2-on-2 basketball on that court. I can tell you, we held our own. We won quite a few.
And that goes a long way.
And it really does. It's like to the point that even those individuals that were involved in crime, selling drugs, and we knew who they were, they knew what my job was. It's not personal. It's I've been hired to do a job, protect the community, and if I catch you dirty, well, then you know you're going to have to go to jail. And there was a level of respect there. And that's how, you know, that is a form of community engagement and people getting to know you, that you're not always just a guy that's just going to come up and arrest me. The ability to have conversations, the ability to interact playing basketball, it's all possible.
You know, a lot of people, you'll hear people saying, I know you've heard it in your 28 years, you know, he didn't have that badge on. That's just some kid that got picked on in high school to put a badge on. Now he's got some power and everything. But actually, y'all look for those type of people and weed them out. That's not very seldom do you have somebody on a power trip that was picked on in high school or something so they become a police officer so they can get some get back, because y'all have ways that you recognize those people and they don't become police officers.
Yeah, and usually if they do, and it happens in our business, they don't have longevity.
Right.
They're just not going to last long. If your heart is geared in that manner, you're not going to last in this business.
And you can't hide it.
No.
You won't be able to hide it.
No, you won't. Your actions will be readily viewed by everybody. And we do take a strong stance on that, and we'll get rid of you.
You talk about how it's something you got to have a calling for. Like, I knew when I was 8 years old I was going to be a teacher. I knew I was going to be a teacher. I made my sister sit in desk, and I would teach her in summer and everything. I knew that was the whole thing that drove me was I wanted to be a teacher.
Right.
And I taught for 5 years and then lost the heart for it because of some incidents with some parents and everything, because teaching had changed. It wasn't about students and parents working together anymore. They became where they worked apart against each other. And so I got out of it. But my original calling was teaching, and I loved it and knew I wanted to be that. there are people that say, I've known I wanted to be a police officer since I can remember. Those are the best candidates for you guys.
I would agree. You know, and I didn't have that luxury. I didn't figure it out until I got into my 20s, and I had a roommate at the time when I was living up north that was a police officer, and kind of gave me the idea because I was bouncing around to different things. But, you know, you hit on something that, you know, maybe even another time we can talk about it. We have just started in the police department. I'm involved with it with a number of other officers of starting a mentoring program to the high school level kids right now. And wanting to expose them to the world of public safety, not just police, but also fire. Chris Hickman over at the fire department has had a mentoring program through the fire service for a number of years now.
Right.
And we've really copied that, where we just kicked off our first session last week. We have it every Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m., where we went out to the high schools and specifically recruited some high school kids to go through this 8-week session before the end of the school year. And the mission of it is really to, you know, not everybody's going to be cut out where they want to go to college and be an accountant or an engineer, and maybe they're just not sure what they want to do. So this is a way of kind of exposing them to some very hands-on activities that we do in law enforcement, where hopefully they have a good time and they get the idea. It's like, yeah, maybe I want to do this as a career, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, we've always had, you know, things like throughout the years, officer friendly and stuff like that.
Right.
That was always geared more towards the elementary school students and the younger middle school students. But to actually have a group that goes out now and mentors and, for lack of a better term, recruits possible people to the police force, because back in the day, I remember the police wouldn't recruit you. The Army and Navy would come recruit you, and then my buddies that would get out of their 4 years of service would become police officers.
Yeah. Well, we just want the best out there. So, you know, it is, and there's no doubt, there's some that kind of will stick out, and you know, you'll have those sidebar conversations where hopefully you talk them into, like, seriously considering a career in public safety.
If somebody's listening to this program today, or, you know, they're at grandma and granddad's house listening or something, and it's intriguing them, where could an 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old go, and, you know, somebody trying to get started, where could they go to find out more information about whether this would be a job for them or not?
So, you know, definitely all of us are encouraged by Chief Balkin to really recruit. And I've done a lot of that, where I've had a lot of conversations. If anybody ever wants to have you know, get any kind of further information, I'd always ask them to reach out to me, because I'll always definitely take the time. But even our officers, the patrol officers that are out on the road, you know, you see them, you know, maybe at a gas station, just kind of, you know, just doing a little security check and hanging out. You can go up to them and talk to them and just begin to ask them some questions. There's no bad questions. So I encourage you just to walk through the front door and just say, hey, I'd love to talk to somebody about law enforcement and what it's all about. Maybe get yourself set up on a ride-along so you can really see what it's about, and make sure you know this may be something that you want to do, and go from there.
I've kept this to be the last part of the show. We got to wrap it up with you, because I know you're a busy man. But patrol, we've already established, is the first on the scene to everything. That's just the job of patrol.
That is correct.
With that being said, are you starting to see any light at the end of the tunnel in this opioid epidemic? I mean, we could go call it a pandemic. Call it what it is. This is especially in the United States, it's a pandemic. Is it to the point? Are we seeing any cracks or lights at the end of the tunnel, or is it just a sad story that it just doesn't seem to be getting that much better?
Yeah, from my perspective, if we look at it almost like a bell curve, I still don't think we've kind of hit the peak yet and have gone on to the backside. I'm not getting any indications of that, and I think it's going to take a lot to kind of get us there. Whether it is, you know, intervention type programs to get people the help they need, or the right enforcement on individuals that are selling it and bringing it into this.
And you guys are doing everything you can do. At the OPD level, you have the amnesty program, so if people want to come in and admit they got a problem, you still will arrest people that you catch dirty with drugs on them and everything. There's been murder charges filed against drug dealers that have went all the way to trial, and one guy just was convicted of murder and sentenced. I mean,
it's tough. This country.
What more can we do?
Well, we're blessed to live in this country where we honestly have so many resources.
This is a first world problem.
We consume so much. We have so much income available to consume, and unfortunately, people kind of want to consume the wrong things sometimes, and they head down this path.
But it's just not, somebody says it's the opioid crisis. We call it the opioid crisis, but really it's a fentanyl crisis.
Correct.
Because it's not just about opioids anymore or people needing the painkiller so they go get heroin. Fentanyl's going in cocaine, and they're lacing marijuana with it and everything.
Yeah.
And people are dying thinking it's not just we call it the opioid crisis, but it's really a fentanyl crisis, isn't it?
I would agree, and it is one of the most challenging issues that we have.
Yeah, because your officers could die just from touching it, and they're precautions you guys got to take.
Yeah, we've seen some videos of that where officers have fallen out from bad contact and exposure to it. You're right. So yeah, we've coached up our officers quite a bit to take those safety measures and properly handle it.
I remember for a while there, you were seeing people just pass it out on the sidewalks and all here in town and everything. Yeah. I don't notice that happening as much anymore. But maybe I'm just not noticing it anymore. We can always tell when there's a bad batch in town because our responses have really not fallen off for people that are in overdose situations. I remember Greg told us a story about a guy who overdosed, and 12 hours later, you responded to another call, and it was the same guy. He had overdosed again.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, those kind of stories haunt me because it's well documented. For a very long part of my life, I was the guy that would snort as much cocaine as an elephant. It didn't bother me. I was hooked. It was my thing. And just to think that in this day, if I was in this day and age right now, I'd probably be dead.
Yeah.
Probably be Todd Mashburn, who's a major with the Bullitt County Sheriff's Department, saved my life by arresting me and putting me in jail. Because if I was still doing cocaine with the fentanyl and everything, I'd probably be dead.
That may be true.
So
that's a blessing. Though.
It is. It really is. And the fact that fentanyl is just, we call it an opioid crisis. It's really a fentanyl crisis is what it is. And you guys patrol front line.
We are. We'll keep battling it, though.
Thanks for coming in today and talking to us.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.
We'll be back after this timeout on Ocala Talks, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Attention passengers for Flight 1370. The plane has been delayed at its departure point and will be at least 2 hours late. We apologize for any inconvenience.
Are you serious? It took us over an hour to get here, 2 hours going through security and getting our tickets, and now we have to wait another 2 hours.
Yeah, it's beautiful here, but we're inside this overcrowded airport all day because the plane is stuck in bad weather.
This is the last time we ever do this. When we get back, we're going to Ocala Aviation and getting our pilot's license.
Yeah, we've been talking about that long enough. It's about time we did it. Then we could just fly ourselves and never have to deal with this mess again.
Right. No long lines, no full body groping security, no baggage checks.
Not to mention never losing your luggage. Remind me again why we haven't done that?
Well, we're idiots.
Oh, right.
Attention all passengers for Flight 1370. It looks like the plane is going to be delayed a little bit longer. The airline has lost the pilot's luggage. Isn't it time you got your pilot's license? Call Ocala Aviation today. 352-861-7484. That's 352-861-7484. Hey, you've earned it. Call today.
Hey there, I have a question for you. Is your roof asphalt and does it look like it needs replacement? Did you get quotes and were you in sticker shock? Would you like to save not hundreds, but thousands of dollars? Did you call RoofMax? Well, call RoofMax with their patent-pending technology, which can add years to your roof without needing to replace it. And it's easy. You just pick up the phone for a free quote. Plus, they use state-of-the-art satellite technology to measure your roof. So, if your roof is over 7 years old, then you should call RoofMax today at 352-639-2777. That's 352-639-2777.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Shamrock Security Systems, 629-3223. Shamrock Security Systems is located here in Ocala, Florida. Shamrock Security Systems is a top-rated alarm company offering 24/7 monitoring, video surveillance, fire and flood protection. You'll sleep a little better once the job is done. Shamrock Security Systems for over 31 years. 629-3223. Get a 100% free quote from Shamrock Security. 629-3223.
Johnny, what are you doing in the bathroom? What are you saying? Wait, where are your toy cars? Oh no, tell me you didn't. Honey, call Mike Scott Plumbing.
I didn't do anything.
For once, that's true, but little Johnny flushed his toys down the toilet and now it's broke.
Yes. Oh no. I'll get the phone. What's the toll-free number?
866-314-4443.
Got it. 866-314-4443.
Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, they do it.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. It's time to get that new look started. Let's get rid of those sun-damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. Humidity is not your hair's friend. It causes your hair to capture moisture and leaves it looking dry and unhealthy. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair healthy and shiny with a Brazilian smoothing treatment. So let us help you make a great first impression. Call us today to set your appointment at Hello Gorgeous. Our number is 352-351-5358. Again, that's 352-351-5358. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. 351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is conveniently located in the heart of downtown Ocala. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon at 351-5358. That's 351-5358.
Hello.